Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. I'm Kate, and today I am continuing to transplant a lot of things out of my east side garden. The biggest thing is a Japanese maple. It's a pretty large, about 8 or 9 foot tall columnar Japanese maple, and I'm taking a big chance, but hoping everything goes well. I'm also working on an area right here next to my fountain where I'm moving some things from over by the waterfall into this area, removing a bunch of Vinca to make room for that stuff. And then lastly, I have a Clematis that I'm taking out of my east side and ends up on my west side. So lots of projects I've been working on over the last few weeks, and I hope that you enjoy watching them in this video. So I've got all kinds of stuff going on today, but basically for the next long while, I'm just trying to get everything out of the side yard that I possibly can. This is where my big stand of Turtlehead lives, and you can see I've dug up about half of it. It kind of came up in little chunks, so these 4 pieces are what I have, and I plan to put them over here. I've been cleaning this out this morning. You can see the Vinca on this side. This was all Vinca, and the only other thing planted in there that I've taken out so far today is this. This is supposed to be a hydrangea. It's supposed to be, I think, Incredible Blush, and it hasn't done well at all. When I took it out, there were 2 pieces intertwined together. So I'm going to pot these up. They really haven't done well there. Maybe they'll do okay if I give them some fertilized potting mix and baby them for a while, and maybe not. Maybe it's just time to say goodbye. But so this is what I'm left with over here. This whole area, I had my coleus here last year, a big stand of red coleus. I think there was 5 of them. I do have some heuchera in varying stages of how well they're doing. I have a cutting of a boxwood here. It is a cutting from these 3, so who knows if that will ever do anything. It's been there about a year. It hasn't really grown at all yet, but you know, it's gotten its roots established. Maybe it will grow a little bit this year. What I'm trying to decide right now is maybe I should take out this Japanese maple. I just put it in last June, so it hasn't been here long. I'm just afraid that it's going to take a really long time to get to be the size I want it to be. I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Maybe I put it in a pot. The main reason I'm thinking of moving it is because if I can take out all this Vinca, I can plant something kind of bigger, like the Turtlehead, and this is just going to be swallowed up by it. So I'm thinking about moving this Japanese maple and maybe continuing to just remove all of this Vinca. And I've got a stained glass hosta I could maybe put here, and then maybe the Turtlehead back there. I'm not 100% sure what I'm planning on doing, but these are some things I'm thinking about. It's been a few weeks now since I potted these up, and I'm happy to report that they both seem to be doing well. After removing all of the Vinca to the left of the fountain, I went ahead and put 3 chunks of that Turtlehead in this area. I did decide to move that little cutting of a boxwood just on the other side of the patio near my Himalayan white birch, and we'll see how it does there. The squirrels dug it up pretty quickly and it was kind of sitting with its roots exposed one day, but hopefully it will recover. Next, I decided to dig up the stained glass hosta, which was near my Turtlehead. Here you can see it on the right, and then these pink flowers are what the Turtlehead looks like. And I put the stained glass hosta sort of on the edge of this berm so it can kind of look like it's cascading over my little rock path here. Then I decided I would tackle some of my Japanese painted ferns. So I have 3 in this area. I ended up only moving 2 on this day because I didn't really have room for the 3rd one and I wasn't sure where to put it. But I do love the Japanese painted ferns. I think they're really beautiful and they're really low maintenance. They seem to not suffer from drying out as much as other ferns. So I put 2 of them in this new area that I'm working on where I removed the Vinca. So kind of my design process right now is a little bit random. It's once I've moved something, just start looking around the east side to see what else needs to be moved. And this Green Mountain Boxwood is kind of precious to me. I really like it. And I wanted to find a spot for it. I didn't know where. So I decided we'll move it to this new area. In this area, I ended up adding stained glass hosta here, 2 Japanese painted ferns, one like here and one there, and then 3 chunks of Turtlehead back behind there. I've always kind of wanted something a little bit taller flanking that fountain. And then I added this Green Mountain Boxwood. So I've had regretted not buying more boxwoods. I wish I'd bought 5 instead of 3 when I bought those. And I thought, well, we could do a taller, more cone-shaped one on the end. So we'll see. I would have put it a little bit further this way, but I'd already put the stained glass hosta there. So this is what happens when you don't plan. And then I've been thinking about putting the bricks there maybe. I've always just had that plastic edging, and the Vinca kind of grows over it, but this way the Vinca could grow onto the bricks. I don't know, I'm thinking about that. I did a little bit of photoshopping to show you what I'm picturing in my head for this area. This is a little update. It has been a few weeks since I planted up this area, so everything's doing pretty well. The stained glass hosta's coming up. Remember that heuchera was already there. The Green Mountain Boxwood has survived some really harsh temperatures. This painted fern coming up very well. The other one, not as well. I think it's alive. I'm not sure why it's so much slower to come up, but it's still there. And then this is all the Turtlehead coming up. So everything looking good there. You may notice that there's another new addition to this area, and it is this Lollipop Arborvitae standard. So that decision, whoops, tripping over things. That decision was made after I did everything else in this area. I needed a place to put it. Where it was before on the east side, it had morning sun, afternoon shade, and I just don't have another place like that to put it. So I kind of had to choose. It was either going to be all sun or all shade. I know this looks sunny right now, but this is actually, we went with shade. Once all these big trees leaf out, it will be shade. But I moved it and I trimmed it up quite a bit to give those roots not so much foliage to sustain. And I know that I now have a lot of evergreens in this area, but nothing wrong with that. So I'm hoping that the Turtlehead has enough space. There's probably 2 feet between the Arborvitae and the Turtlehead. Hopefully that's enough space to spread out without getting in each other's way. So that is the update on that area. So I just dug up the Avant-Garde Clematis from here. It was kind of strange because when I dug it up, it actually came up, it was actually 2 plants that kind of fell apart. And then this over here had kind of rooted in. So you can see there's kind of 2 places. It had kind of, the clematis had grown up out of there, and then it had touched the ground here and rooted in. So I actually now have 3, possibly 3 avant-garde clematis to find a spot for. The avant-garde clematis is a pruning group 3 clematis. So like many in that group, it has a profusion of smaller flowers, so maybe 1.5 to 2 inches for each flower, but more of them. And this kind of clematis in group 3, you can just prune to about 10 inches from the ground every spring. Okay, so you guys might recognize this west side. I told you guys it was a hard area. I planted 3 daisies, 3 black-eyed Susans from other parts of my garden. I don't think any of those survived. And I mean, those are fighters, right? So it's just a hard area. Here is, like here, I'm not even sure if this is the daisy or the black-eyed Susan, but it's not doing anything. It's not alive. So, bummer. I'm gonna try these clematis here. So these are the 2 clematis. They were just literally intertwined and growing together. They came apart in 2 pieces. So I'm gonna do, and then I have the one that rooted in. So I'm gonna do the biggest one back here where it's the most protected. So, you know, that's the one I'm sort of banking on actually surviving. This is this is the north side of the chimney. So hopefully that will protect the roots enough that this guy will live. Then the one that rooted in is a pretty big block. I'm going to put him also in here. And then the third one I have another idea for, also on the west side. All the ground covers I planted here are also struggling. I think the ajuga has all died. I have a little bit of sedum and creeping jenny left. So hopefully something will thrive. So I think this is, yeah, it's no good. And I think that's a black-eyed Susan. And it looked okay not too long ago at the end of winter. It was looking okay. This one seems to be somewhat rooted in, so maybe this one will live, but there is a blank spot here. I now have an agreement with myself that I will only grow Clematis in group 2 or 3 pruning group, so that I know that I can cut them back to the ground. I usually cut them around 10 inches every spring, and the Clematis in group 1 bloom on old wood, so you can't do that. This way I just know I can cut down all the Clematis in the yard in early spring. Okay, this last one, here's what I'm gonna do. This last one, what I'm gonna try to do is plant it tucked in behind this boxwood. My hesitancy is that it will grow on the boxwood. I don't want it to do that. I'd love it to sprawl over here, but I'm wanting to plant it next to the boxwood so that the boxwood will protect the roots from that southwest sun. And I'm choosing the littlest one because there's not a lot of space to tuck it in. I chose to plant all 3 of these on this west side here because I think it will have a big impact if they all 3 live and are all blooming at the same time. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little more creative than I should with where I'm starting to put these plants, but there's just so many to find a home for, and I can't, I don't feel like I can put them all into pots and keep them all alive for days or a week while they do the work. I think that a lot of them would die if I tried to keep, and I mean, I don't even know how I would put them all in pots and get all the dirt, and it would just be a massive thing to try to do all at once. So to me, it made more sense as I'm trying to save these plants to just put them other places in the garden, and maybe someday they'll end up back over there, but it's not my intention to move them over here and then move them back right away. Just doing it all at once doesn't seem like a viable option to me. So I'm just finding other places, and my intention is that they will be left in these new places permanently. I don't want to try to move them back right away. I think transplanting them twice would be hard on them, twice in a row. Time to water these, and then I'm gonna tackle my biggest transplant yet. I'm heading over there right now to see if I can dig up this Columnar Japanese maple because I know that I can't find it anywhere else. Okay, so this is the Columnar Japanese maple that I'm gonna move. My neighbors are listening to some music, so we're gonna have a little background music today. You can see that it's just starting to leaf out, and so I want to move it before it gets too many leaves. This is a big risk, but we're gonna lose it either way, so we're gonna try. So these rocks here are there for 2 reasons. One is I feel like the rocks kind of save the water from all washing away. So I was trying to kind of keep some moisture there for the Japanese maple. And then also it's kind of a little wall. You can't tell right now because the leaves are all in the way, but it also serves for me to walk on the stepping stones to access the back a little bit. So lots going on there. But here we go. I'm going to give it a try. I might not be able to dig it up at all. Like, it just might be a total fail, but I feel like it's worth trying. Ugh. I had to start digging out some roots that were kind of splaying out away from the main root ball. And I did learn from past experiences that I'm going to keep digging until I've got it all out. I'm not going to pull on it because that's how I hurt my shoulder. This U has got to go. Nothing else to say about that. I mean, I'll try to save it somewhere, but right now I'm just focusing on the Japanese maple. I have kind of let my sweet autumn clematis reseed here a lot, and so I do want to take out a couple that are growing along the fence on this left side so that they don't grow on the Japanese maple. I'm leaving some on the other side. I know I'm going to hear about the sweet autumn clematis being invasive. I just don't have a huge problem with plants that reseed a lot because I just am pretty diligent in my garden about pulling up the seedlings. I ran into some pretty big roots. I'm thinking they're from a cottonwood tree, which my neighbors have pretty much cut down. So I don't think that it's going to harm any trees. I'm hoping it's not from my oak tree, but it seems to be coming straight out from the cottonwood. And I got to use my little mini chainsaw, which I absolutely love. I spent some time trying to figure out which direction it should go because I was looking not only at like where the roots would fit, but also the branching of the stems and the structure of it in the garden. So I had to kind of take a step back and look and try to figure out the best way I could fit this Japanese maple in. I ended up needing to move all of the soil that I just piled up next to this trellis. I needed some of the roots to go in that direction, and I'm about to hit another really big root. So I think it actually took me longer to dig that hole than to dig the thing up, but they both took a very long time. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this up a little bit to help it, you know, it has less roots now. I'm not sure, I mean, I definitely don't want to take off the top. So I'm just gonna prune out dead and just strategically prune out some places as well. Basically, I'm just gonna try to shape it well. And like a couple places, where was that? Well, this branch is crossing this other one. And there's 3 coming out from this same place. I don't know if you guys can see this. I think I might take this whole branch out because it is kind of competing. And I need to eliminate some stuff anyway. Okay, so there's like 2 branches, and then this one branches again into 2. And this one's just got a really funny shape. It's a pretty big branch, so that makes me a little nervous. I'm gonna start with the dead stuff on the bottom. You can see I took some fairly major branches off. That's a hellebore, ignore that. But I took some pretty big branches off, along with a lot of really tiny ones. So these big roots that I dug up, I'm hoping that they're from this cottonwood that my neighbor cut the top off. So I'm assuming she didn't care about the tree. I'm hoping it's not from my oak. I'm thinking it's cottonwood. I hope. Let's go see how the Japanese maple is faring. The neighbor's dog is gonna bark at us. As you can see, it's leafing out pretty well. So, you know, it hasn't croaked yet. Looking pretty good. Now there are, which I kind of expected, there is some dieback on the tips where it just couldn't sustain all that growth. But that is that kind of stuff has happened before when we've just had extreme temperatures and stuff. And so I'm not too worried about it. Overall, I'm super thrilled that it's alive. I did add a Patriot hosta down there since I planted it. So let's come in here and you can see these leaves are just starting to open and will be getting bigger. I'm gonna wait until it's all leafed out before I start trimming any of the dead ends off so we can kind of see how it looks then. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys are enjoying coming along with me as I'm transplanting all these things in my garden. The Japanese maple is definitely my biggest transplant yet. I'm thrilled that I think it was successful, and I hope that you all had a wonderful Easter, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully my next video will be a spring garden tour.